Today is the 15th of July, 2025, and the matter of discourse this afternoon is one that involves we trying to settle a discourse, a big misunderstanding that has gotten to our hearing. A report has gotten to us about some allegedly, well, I believe that it could be the concern of the individual, or if something is not yet happening, but there is a reflection of that, or it's already happening within some organs or some NGOs, and that's when we got the report. So we are trying to flag it online so that everyone can take a cognizance of this and also seek redress where it is necessary. Now, it is a big misunderstanding that is currently happening between some clusters or bundle heads and the NGOs they submitted their data to. Now, these cluster heads are the ones who went out to gather people's names. They helped to submit forms and brought groups together. They called bundles or clusters to join the grant program through different NGOs. Some of them too paid for logistics, printed forms, typed their Excel sheets, and spent their own money to help others get into the grant program. But now, what we are being told, or allegedly, they are being told by some NGOs that all the bundles they submitted would only count as one slot each, or that all their efforts only earn them one person's benefit, no matter how many people they helped. Now, this is unfair. If this is true, this is unfair, and it's going to cause confusion, anger, and disappointment, especially since the promises were made earlier that the more bundles or clusters you brought, the more slots or beneficiary places you would get. Now, these cluster heads are asking questions like, what is the agreed number of slots per bundles? Why are NGOs changing the agreement now? Or some NGOs, according to his report, then will their hard work and money go to waste? Will it go to waste? Now, let me quote what the person said, a kind of verbatim. Just give me just a minute. Now, okay. Now, he said, I was surprised to hear that some of these NGOs are tactically telling those sponsored bundles or clusters head that each of their sponsored bundles or clusters would only take a slot of a beneficiary. That is to say, if you sponsored 100 bundles or clusters to your NGOs, you would only be entitled to receive 100 slots of beneficiaries. Did you get that? So that was the concern. That was the concern. Like, what would be the official stipulated amount that should be given to those that brought bundles or clusters to their NGOs or sponsored those bundles or clusters to their NGOs with the agreed amount demanded by their NGOs as at the time of submission of data. Now, I hope we got that the question so clearly, kind of the concern of this particular comrade. Now, let's now talk about the real issue here and how this confusion started. What the right expectation should be from both cluster heads and NGOs, and how this matter can be peacefully and fairly resolved. Now, who are the clusters, or who are the bundle heads? By way of a definition, so that all of us can understand what each of them stands for. Now, a cluster head or a bundle head is a person who helped the NGOs to collect names and data of people in groups. Now, these cluster heads, they are involved in typing the Excel sheets for hundreds of people. Some of them paid for printing, some of them for transportation and submission. A lot of them encourage people to join the program, and then they paid NGO logistics or data processing fees too, and they made sure the data was clean and complete. They also trusted the NGOs based on verbal or written promises. I have also acted as a cluster head, to my NGO that I subscribe to. I did act as a cluster head, for that. So whatever thing I'm also saying, I was also part when I gathered information, making sure that all these data are clean and they were submitted in good terms now. So, but this report we got was from a concerned expected beneficiary. Now, most of them were told something like, if you bring 100 bundles or clusters to us, you will be given 100 slots in return when the grant is paid. But now some NGOs, according to this information, are denying this, claiming that no matter how many bundles you submitted, you are only entitled to one slot. Now, that was the report of this fellow. It has not been proven, but in case there is anything of such manner, that is why we are bringing this right on this platform, so that the whole grant ecosystem could hear this, that something like this has been reported by someone and there should be a redress. Now, this is where the major problem began. Why this is very much unfair, let us be clear. Without the cluster heads, a lot of NGOs will not even have enough people or data to qualify for grants in the first place. So, if these cluster heads helped you to grow your data, if they paid your required fees, if they did the legal and field work and were promised something in return, then why change the agreement now? It's unfair to use people's efforts to qualify for a grant and then push them aside when it's time to reward them. It's also very painful for someone who submitted like 500 bundles to be told that you only get one slot. That is not what was promised, and it should never happen in the first place. What do I think? What do I feel that is the right thing for the NGOs to do right now? Every NGO that accepted bundles and clusters from clusters heads must be honest and fair. Yes, I believe that they should respect every promise that they made to them. If the cluster heads was told, you will get a slot per bundle or per 10 bundles, then stick to the plan. Stick to that agreement. Don't change the rules now that the money is near. Then every NGO head should show a considerable level of transparency. Let each NGO head clearly show how many bundles were submitted by each cluster heads, what agreement was made at the time, how many slots they are given now. This is going to help to rebuild trust. Yes. Then the NGO heads should be able to communicate clearly. NGOs should stop keeping people in the dark. They should send updates to people. They should explain challenges they are facing. They should be open about what is happening within their NGOs. If there's a possibility, apologize. If there's a need, apologize. If there was a change in the plan due to new rules from the above or whatever thing we've said before, explain it clearly to cluster heads. Don't lie to them. Don't dodge them. Instead, apologize and look for ways to balance the disappointments. It has to be. It has to be. Now, that is for the cluster. That is for the NGO heads. Now, the cluster heads also, or the bundle heads, they have something to do. There's what is expected also from them. Every cluster head should also maintain good communication and avoid violence or threats. You had to stay calm but firm. Yes, you might be hurt, but don't fight blindly. Speak clearly. Use evidence. Show respect, even while standing your ground. Keep records. Always have records of how many bundles you submitted, who collected them, what you paid, and what was promised you. This is going to help in case of any misunderstanding. Every cluster heads must follow due process. In case your NGO is ignoring you, you could put forward a formal complaint. You can escalate the issues to the Sanctuary World Multipurpose Foundation through the Office of the Secretary to the UAAG. You understand? That's the part handling disbursement. But then there is what they need to address right now. All of this is just a measure to checkmate some issues before disbursement finally happens. You understand? So how can this be solved before disbursement? So that when disbursement happens, it won't be, well, you didn't tell me this, or you never said anything about that. When I said something concerning that, you never raised eyebrow. Silence sometimes could mean consent. So I feel that there should be a peaceful and practical solution that can fix the problem before the grant is released. I strongly believe, or I strongly feel, that there should be a general meeting from the umbrella body, a general meeting of the UAAG with the NGOs. You understand? Or either the NGO heads. Yes, the NGO heads. There should be, UAAG Sanctuary World is the umbrella head, and there should be a conveyed meeting, you understand, of the NGO heads, and not necessarily the cluster heads or the bundle heads, because once the NGO heads once they are engaged, definitely they are going to channel the same information to the cluster heads or the platform supervisors. You understand? So, but let this meeting be held between the umbrella heads and the NGO heads. Let this meeting help everyone. It's going to clarify promises that were made. It's going to settle differences. It's going to agree on a fair way forward for everyone. There should be a standard guideline. There should be one clear rule that says how many slots a cluster head gets per bundle. Then what to do in case there is a shortfall. How future bundles could be accepted if possible. And I think that shouldn't even apply anymore, because submitting of all those names, they've been done over with. You understand? But we shouldn't even consider that as a point anyway. So, but what should be done if there is maybe a shortfall or something, and what a cluster head gets per bundle? I believe that this is going to stop some confusion before this grant is actually reviewed or released. And also, there should be a review and a kind of publications of each of the NGO or cluster lists. Each NGO should be able to provide a list of cluster heads who submitted data to them, the number of bundles that each person submitted, the number of slots they are going to receive. This level of transparency, I believe, is going to reduce backbiting, favoritism, and possible death. God forbid. It's going to avert a kind of lacuna that might happen, because money is dangerous. Everybody is jubilating right now because nothing has been spilled. No fund has been channeled or disseminated to anybody's account. But I tell you the truth, by the time fund begins to fly left, right, and center, then you're going to see the demon in people. You're going to see the animal in people. Especially if agreements begin to, they won't even care whether just a portion was given to them. They want to get everything that was promised them. So you don't prepare for battle before battle comes. You prepare for war before war comes. Sorry, you don't prepare for battle or war when war comes. You prepare ahead of time. You do that ahead of time. A woman expecting a baby does not start buying baby things when the baby drops. She start buying a long time ago. The father, the mother, they are in synergy. It's very important. So, you can also provide compensation or some priorities if slots are now limited. NGOs should refund part of logistic fees to the people. Yes, they should offer some kind of reward, even if it is small, to show appreciation. That is, if the cluster heads is going to take that anyway. But if that wasn't part of the agreement, I think that should just be, you should find a way to synergize and simulate with your cluster heads, because without them, you wouldn't have any bundle. You wouldn't even have any group. Even if they can't fulfill 100% of the promise, they should not leave the cluster heads empty-handed. We need to rebuild trust between NGOs and the cluster head. The relationship between cluster heads and NGOs should not be a fight. It should be partnership. if both parties treat each other with respect and honesty, things are going to go very smoothly. NGOs must remember, these cluster heads helped you to succeed. They are not your servants. Without their data, you might not have qualified for anything. You owe them fairness and gratitude. Yes, you do. Then every cluster heads, you must also be patient and smart. You must apply wisdom, not anger. Don't shout in public before trying private resolutions. You should understand that some changes may come from the top, not the NGO itself. If nothing is done now, the problem might grow. If this matter is not solved quickly, it could destroy some future cooperations among the people it's supposed to synergize. It could cause some public disgrace. It could lead to protests and bad image for the grand platform. And ultimately, it could bring divisions and hatred between different camps within this, with different organs within this ecosystem. I believe that this would be so sad, because the whole purpose of the grant was to help the masses, not to fight and cheat one another. So let us not allow a good thing to be destroyed by greed or miscommunication. Conclusively, I'm bringing this matter to a close right now. This confusion is an issue, but it can still be solved. We call on every responsible leaders, the platform officials, the NGO heads, and the cluster coordinators to take quick action. Let fairness, transparency, and honesty guide this process. To all of the NGOs, do not eat the fruit of anybody's sweat. If someone helped you, reward them. And to all cluster heads, be peaceful, but don't let your efforts go in vain. Speak up with dignity and wisdom. And to the public, stay calm. Let us allow the right people to handle the matter with truth and justice. Let His grant bring joy and not confusion. Let it heal. Let it not hurt. Let it unite us together and not divide us. As we wait for the grand disbursement and for the date fixed by IMF, the 28th of July, we pray that truth, fairness, and justice will guide every decision. May no one who worked hard be left behind. And may we all see the fruits of our sacrifices sown in peace and without shame. This is Princess Channel, the channel with legitimacy. In case you're new, do kindly subscribe and hit the bell so that you don't miss out on vital updates. When we drop one, you have one. We are a formidable family, and we would meet at the celebration ground floor. Thank you very much. Let all of these instructions be taken to heart before disbursement happens. And together, we smile. God bless you.